Okay, hey guys, I'm David from Comic Book Investments. I'm here with a very unique situation that I normally don't do, but I'm interviewing a musician, and you might be like, why are you interviewing a musician on your channel? Well, this guy also created a comic book, and he's actually a very famous musician too. His name is Jaret Soup. Also, he was nominated for a Grammy, right? Yep.
Yes. Yep. 2003 Grammys for the song "Girl the Bad Guys Want," and yeah, that was sort of one of those things. That definitely came out of nowhere. It was it's like we got a doctorate or something. We just get to put that around our name all the time now.
I remember seeing either as a poster or an album, and it said like nominated Bowling for Soup. I don't know what it was. It was so long ago, and I thought it was a joke back in the day because you guys are known to be kind of like a little bit like pranksters and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't a joke. I mean, it was real, and we went and it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was it's just crazy. I mean, I think every once in a while, one of a band or an artist just kind of slips in through some sort of a crack or something. I mean, it definitely we definitely weren't on anyone's radar, and so the fact that it managed to get us as far as it did at that point was really cool.
yeah, and so you guys had like the girl all the bad guys want, which I really loved. I was that song all the time. You also had 1985,
Mm-hmm.
and you had almost punk rock 101. They also have a new song that I like, Getting Old Sucks.
Yeah,
Uh,
getting old sucks, but everybody's doing it.
Yep, everyone's doing it. And also, fun fact, I bet a lot of you guys didn't know, and I didn't really know until a couple of years ago, actually. You voiced Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of things that I think your listeners or watchers, your channel viewers will find interesting about things that both me and Bowling for Soup have done. But yes, I'm the voice of Chuck E. Cheese. I've been him for about 11 years.
Are you still
Um,
the voice of Chuck E. Cheese?
yes, I am. Yeah,
Oh, well, that's good.
yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even know if they're like still really. I knew they were around, but I didn't know like the mascots and stuff like that.
Well, you're not really our demographic, you know.
Yeah, I know. I know.
If you
Well,
start going to a Chuck E. Cheese by yourself, people are going to be like, "What's this guy doing here?" You know.
you know what's crazy though? Here's the thing: when I was a little kid, every year I got to pick where I wanted to go for my birthday, and I picked Chuck E. Cheese. I'm not
Yeah.
even joking. I went there for years. Now I'm all grown up, and it'd be very odd. I mean, I only have dogs. I don't have kids, so if I went there, it'd be very odd if I'm just hanging around in the ball pit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the ball pit's long gone, so that's
Oh,
the
okay.
thing. Is like they've really it's real well lit in there now, and everything's really clean, and they've changed quite a bit since you were a kid, since I was a kid, but it's still it's a really great place to go for a kid's birthday. But yeah, I was also we did the theme song for Phineas and Ferb, and I voiced a character on that as
Mm,
well.
that's
And
cool.
we also did the theme for Sonic the Hedgehog when they did his comeback.
For the
Planet
movie
Planet
or
Sonic Unleashed. That's what it was
oh,
called.
okay.
The game.
Isn't that a new game? Like a
So I
couple
think
years?
I think that is a I think they I'm not really sure how all that works, to be honest, but ours was about 10 years ago.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and then we did the theme song to Jimmy Neutron and had some songs in a bunch of different cartoons and stuff. So it's definitely if you don't know who Bowling for Soup is, you've probably run across us without knowing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan, and I can geek out on music for a while, but I'm gonna talk about what you're here for, about your comic book.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 3 issues, I believe, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it started quite some time ago. We a friend of ours who um it's funny, he started out we met him in college when our band was he was in college and our band was just doing starting to do pretty well in a college town, Denton, Texas. And he was just this big super fan, and his name's Kenny McBroom, and he did some art for us back in the day, and then he went on to art school and became an art teacher. And then one day he was just like, "You guys need a comic book." And it's like, okay. I mean, I don't even know the first thing about that, about
Mhm.
how to get a comic book or even really what that entails. And he was like, it's not that difficult to do. I mean, we'll kind of I'll steer you through it. So yeah, we did our first issue and our second issue with Kenny. And then the reason that I think that you discovered us is because the Andy Noble from Neb Media in the UK had reached out to me quite some time ago, actually, about doing a comic book again. And I was like, it's really hard these days.
I don't know that one.
Alexa off. I don't even know what I said. I didn't even,
does that.
I didn't say her name. But yeah, he hit us up, and it was kind of one of those things where we've been approached several times, but it all kind of comes down to economics. I mean, it's not a cheap undertaking, and you've got to know that you can sell enough to even make your money back. And
yeah,
quite frankly, Andy was cool because he was like, man, I just really want to make this happen. So tell me what your budget is, and let's try to do that. And so, again, kind of went back and forth for, a better part of a couple of years until finally it was like, you know what, man, let's just do it. And, since then our membership has changed. We got a bass player named Rob in 2018, and he used to dress up in a superhero costume and run around stage and stuff like that. And so it's like, let's do a Super Rob thing, and maybe it can be, something that we keep doing. And so I can show it to you. Hold on one second.
Yeah, let's see it.
Actually, this is kind of cool. So we did like a prototype because we needed it for the video. So this is a prototype that we had drawn up. Rob's cousin drew the artwork, and you see there's Piper.
Do you know what that homage cover is to?
I know it's of something, right? What is it?
It's to Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man.
That's what it is. So he's the biggest Spider-Man fan in the world. He is like, he has like multiple Spider-Man costumes and just wears them around the house. And so they even did like a cool little funny thing in the back that made it look like a comic book because we needed this for the video. So, and then when Andy and Nebulous took this over, it became a little bit more like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Cartoony. Can see the Nebulous media there and then all of that. But, he came to us with an initial story and allowed us to go through and make it, our own. And it's super good quality. And we put our own ads in there. So like we put like ads for my other bands and things like that in there.
That's cool. Can you tell us a bit about like what it's about? So it's about Rob, and I'm assuming he's a musician in the comic book.
Yeah. So basically we are Bowling for Soup in the comic. And after our show, he goes and he fights crime. And I am there on the tour bus, which becomes home base, and I'm telling him where to go and steering him around. And Chris becomes the guy that makes all of his inventions. That's all covered in there. So, and then Gary, we call the Cobra because that's his nickname. Gary's called the Cobra because he doesn't really ever talk, but when he does, he says the funniest thing that you're going to hear that night. And so Gary plays the character that just is like in the really nice car and just happens to be at the right place at the right time, always to bail him out or to rescue him or, whatever it is. And so it's a bit of a laugh, at the end of the day. I mean, I think a lot of times we do more damage than good, but at the end of the day, we do save everybody's life.
That's very, very cool. And so you had two other comics before this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And are they intertwined? Is it like an ongoing thing or just one?
They're not. So I think really this is going to be the start of an ongoing thing. We really enjoy doing this. And so I think this is more of like a new start. The old ones are out of print and have been for a while. In fact, it kind of sucks. I wanted to do a reprint of it, but the place that did it has switched printers and all of that stuff, and we can't find the original digital files. And so we're sort of in a weird spot where that's concerned. So even the artist doesn't have everything anymore. So it's that long ago. I think the idea would be to, continue to to do this. And the Super Rob route's pretty funny anyway, because we could give everybody their own sort of like backstory and you know, story like into what exactly their role is in the whole Super Rob universe.
That's very cool. Now, where do people go to find this if they wanted to buy this?
Yeah, so you can just go to bowlingforsoup.com and click on our store. We have a US store and a UK store, and you can get them signed or unsigned. Like I said, the art is really amazing in there. The story is really funny. It actually, a funny story about it is his original outline for the story was Andy is English. And so actually he's from the UK. I don't necessarily know that he's English. I don't know. He could be Welsh or I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's from the UK. And so a lot of the jokes were like not landing because it was like, oh man, you're doing English humor. Like we need to retranslate in this. So like we speak bowling for soup, which is funny in both, you know, like it's funny over there and funny over there. It's like, so we changed a few things of like, you know, different words like marmalade, we changed to jam and, you know, things like that where like everybody could understand what we were talking about.
Yeah. Very, very cool. So you're saying this will be an ongoing thing, hopefully.
Yeah,
I'm assuming this one's
yeah.
been successful enough to continue on.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We got them right towards the end of our tour last year, and they sell really, really well on the road. And so once we get back out on the road here in the US, they'll do much better. I mean, you know, you know, we don't necessarily get just comic book fans going on the Bowling for Soup site to buy, you know, most of the time they're looking for a shirt or a sticker or something like that. So the hardcore fans that like comics have gotten it, and it's doing fairly well. But again, we'll sell most of these things on tour because it'll be people that are like, oh my God, you got a comic book. And that's, you know, and there they can see it and hold it and take it. But yeah, they're available. And like I said, it's a fun collector's thing. They're all limited edition. So, you know, obviously because we can't go reprint anything because we lose the files.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen some of your older ones up on eBay. I was looking at it.
Yeah. It's funny. Me too. I see that all the time. And it's just like, eBay is one of those things where I'm glad things like that find a home, but sometimes the price, I'm just like, oh, goodness gracious, that's a hefty amount of money to pay for something like that. But yeah, you know, I mean, I don't know. I guess, you know, that there's people collect what they collect, right?
Yeah. Now, were you into comic books when you were younger?
So not really. My brother was into it a little bit, and I liked to read things like Archie, and you know, I read you know, I really liked the Tom and Jerry ones from when I was little, and then, you know, I would have a Superman here or there, but not in the whole vein of like knowing what I had or, you know, or keeping them in the plastic or any of that stuff. My brother got into it for a while, and you know, I think it's much like the sports card collections that I had. You know, I think they probably got left at my mom's and tossed somewhere that would make most comic book collectors sick to their stomach because it's like, wait, you had what? And, you know, and where did it end up? So, you know, but not really, you know, wasn't really anything. I mean, I'm not really even, you know, I honestly, Rob would probably be a better guest on here. So maybe you should have him on sometime because he is into that whole world. And it's funny because our old bass player was too into it. But I've always been, you know, I went straight from sports to music.
What sports did you play?
So I played all sports as a kid. I played football, baseball, basketball, and soccer. And when I was a kid, I'm 51. So when I was a kid, you know, you could play all four because each sport only had one season. Soccer had two, but you could overlap those. And now, you know, where we live now, you kind of have to pick one. It's really hard for them to overlap because they all have multiple seasons throughout the year. So I feel really lucky that I got, you know, a foundation and all of that.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing up until high school. In high school, I did wrestling, and then
Yeah.
But then I started joining bands when I was like 16. So then that kind of took up my free time, and then.
See, so I have the exact same story. I did it all up until high school, and then I joined the marching band in high school, and then I started playing in rock bands. Or actually before then, but yeah, that pretty much took all my attention, you know, from there or whatever. But you know, high school is kind of one of those things where you have to start picking your sport at that time.
But did you know high school never ends?
I did know that, and in fact, I made that up, and it's that was actually just quoted. They just quoted me in oh, what is it, BuzzFeed or something the other day, and I was like, "Gosh, that's so cool that I made something up, that long ago, and it's still relevant enough for this magazine or whatever to quote it." It's pretty neat.
So, did you say you're going on tour again soon?
Yeah, in the fall. So we toured really hard last year. Our newest album, "Pop Drunk Snot Bread," came out. We hit it really hard last year. This year, it's more sporadic. A couple of festivals throughout the summer, and then we'll be touring the U.S. in the fall. And then next year is our 30th anniversary as a band, and it's the 20th birthday of "Hangover You Don't Deserve," which, as you mentioned earlier, has 1985 almost. It has Ohio, Come Back to Texas. It's got Trucker Hat. So Smoothie King, which is a big fan favorite. And so our biggest album, actually. And so we'll be celebrating our birthday and that album's birthday all year long with tons and tons of tour dates and, hitting it hard and both in this country and in the UK and Japan, Australia. It'll be a busy year.
Very, very cool. Now, I had a couple questions, music related. I wanted to
Okay.
ask you. So, from when you started, I'm assuming you Bowling for Soup is well, at least when they started getting really popular, it was early 2000s. Maybe you started the actual band probably late 90s or something.
So we started the band in '94.
Oh,
We got
okay.
signed in '99. We didn't have a hit till 2003. So we did 9 years in the van, and got on a bus in 2003. So we were 10 years in before we had any like success to speak of.
Okay, wow, quite the grind. So, how has music really changed from then to now? Like, I know, for example, me, I just, I write songs, I have a band stuff, and I just throw them up on Spotify, and that's
Mhm.
technically distribution. So, like, how
Yeah,
has and I know you guys release still a lot of stuff. You still
yeah.
release a lot of music,
Mhm.
like all the time, like pretty much every year.
Right.
So how has it really changed? Is it for the better? Is it for worse? Is it a mix of both?
Mix of both for the artist, better for the fan. The fan is content fed. Short attention spans are accepted by the artist now, and so you're just getting bombarded by your favorite, whatever your favorite thing is, at the time. It's like, to put it in perspective, it's like when I was a kid, a band would release an album every 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
and you knew about them, whatever magazine article said, once a month, and every once in a while an interview on MTV or whatever. And that was it. That's all you knew. I mean, you got word of mouth and stuff like that. And you went to see concerts and stuff. And, you know, music back then was discovered by, mixtapes being passed around and cassettes and, all of that. I love, for an artist, and as I said, mixed for the artist. For the artist, I think some people find it hard that social media is, I mean, equally as important as the music, which I know sucks to hear, but it just is. Your ability
It's
to be
almost
able to.
more important, to be honest. A lot
Yeah,
of
I mean, I
labels
hate
I'll
to say
talk
that.
to,
Yeah.
it's like how
You're
many how many
well,
followers do you have?
I think it's more work, so it seems like, I mean, still the songs have to be there.
Yeah.
Um, but it's hard. It's you want to spend your day making music and writing songs, but quite frankly, for those of us who have to try on social media to make good content, it can take hours and hours a day, and so I think that's where the artist gets frustrated. Obviously, also, a lot of artists don't feel like that they're paid enough from the streaming sites and all of that. And, my answer to that would have been, well, how much were you getting paid when people were, pirating tapes or sharing
Yeah.
stuff for free and, all of those things? It's like, something is better than nothing from my standpoint, and even when we were on a record label, we actually didn't make a dime off of record sales until last year. And
Really?
we've been off the label longer than we were on it. So we were on the label from 99 to 2009, and we just got our first check last year for music sales. So
Wow.
It's not like that's changed, it's not like that kind of thing. And that's a super complicated conversation for another time. But I think most of the time, again, for the fan, and as a fan of music myself, I take that. I like the fact that people have to let us into what they're doing and keep us updated all the time, and we kind of know what's happening, and we get songs early, and all of those things. So um it's definitely changed a lot. But as you said, people can pop it up on Spotify. I mean, it's cool. You can write a song that day, put it up on SoundCloud, and send it to everybody. That is a pretty awesome luxury. That,
Yeah.
I mean, you think back to what that would have taken you to do that, in the early 90s, mid 90s, to like, okay, what are you going to burn a CD for everybody? You're going to, burn a cassette for everybody. So just the ease of distribution. And as you said, you put your own stuff up on Spotify. It's like with things like TuneCore and DistroKid, now you don't, I mean, look at Jake, that artist who's like, just, I don't think I want a label. I'm fine. And that dude's just out there doing it himself with, just, it's a pretty cool time to be alive for everybody, I think. But a different grind for musicians, I guess I should say.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one thing, I don't know if you pay much attention to AI though, but have you seen like there's like AI that can like just like Google released a video a couple days ago about it. Basically, you type in what you want and it makes a song out of thin air. And in
Yeah.
like 5 to 10 years, it's gonna be like because I tried to do all the sync stuff, and so it's like we need a song that's like an intro to go into some MTV show and it's like this. It's like a rock song. It's like, okay, write a little thing. It's just gonna be all those things are just gonna be AI driven now. What do you think of that?
Gonna be AI driven and all that. I mean, I was actually just talking about this yesterday. I mean, I think we use the tools that we're given at whatever point in our life. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I was talking to a friend and they were like, well, I mean, I could see you using it like as a jump start. Let's say you want to write a song about something and you're like, hey, put this into AI and say, like, write a song about this. And then you've got an idea page and you didn't even have,
Yeah.
you didn't have to go after it. I mean, you're still going to have to execute it, and you're still going to have to market or whatever. Unfortunately, it sort of goes back to our other conversation. If you've got AI writing the song for you, it makes the social media aspect of it 100% of your job,
Yeah.
and but who knows, I mean, I saw that you're going to be able to do like videos and all that the next couple of years, and which is awesome. Be like, hey, make a Bowling for Soup video for this new song that we just did, and then we're just done, and they don't cost thousands of dollars to do,
Yeah. It,
I don't know. That's a lot of that stuff is like way beyond my understanding. I try to kind of keep up with that idea, but um, I know that like for my manager is wanting me to start blogging again, which is crazy to me that that's something that's coming back. That people are like wanting to read blogs, of like people. And but he's like, you could start it with an AI generated thing where you just like write this in the way Jaret Reddick would say it. And they did it, and it really did sound like I wrote it. Like it was like it said stoked all the time, and this is awesome everywhere, and exclamation
wow.
points all over the place. And I was like, wow, that's I've done enough interviews to where AI can talk like me. I guess it's pretty wild.
Well, I know I follow that stuff pretty closely, and there's just some really crazy stuff. I'll use AI in my videos. Like if I mess something up, I'll type what I wanted to say, and I'll just speak in my voice if I have like a graphic over my face
Wow.
at the time, and then it's like people don't notice.
What is there a specific AI program you use for that, or how does that even
So
work?
I use it's called, I'm gonna get I think it's called 11 Labs. Um, Yeah, it's called 11 Labs AI. And basically, I've done enough videos where I can just feed it videos that I've done, and then it memorizes my voice, and then I can type it
Wow.
up. And it's not good if I did an entire video like that. It'd be very weird. But if I mess up on a section of the video and I'm like, ugh, and I just type something up and it'll, go through or fix a word or something like that. And it's pretty nice to use. And I bet in like 5 years will be the point where I really don't even have to be on camera anymore. It'll just do everything for me.
So crazy, man. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's just like a new age, and that's why my thinking is what ends up happening is, at least in music and even in comic books, it's not going to be about the art of the comic books or the music per se. It's going to be the thing that sells you is you, like you, the person, is going to be what separates you. So even with like, if in like 5-10 years, you'll be like, draw me a comic panel that is in the vein of, you know, some comic artist, and it'll look just like it. And you're like, perfect. Okay, now let's sell this book. But it's like you, the brand.
You have to have the idea, and again, you have to be the one that executes it and do all that. You're right. You know, it'd be interesting too. I mean, you know, there's you know, now I just did a country record, a Texas country record, and Nashville country gets a lot of grief for being very paint by numbers, you know, just very, you know, right down the middle, and everything overlaps with everything else. So you just sort of wonder, like, if that's what's going to make, you know, music or art or whatever set itself apart, is just straying away from the norm. Like, because how do you tell AI to do that? You know, maybe you can, but, you know, don't write a hit song from Nashville, but make it to where it's not like a hit song in Nashville. It seems like, what would it do? You know? So who knows, man? But it's, you know, it's pretty exciting. I mean, I'm excited for my kids and my, you know, hopefully I have grandkids someday, and, you know, it'd be so cool to just see what they can do with it.
Yeah, it'll be a very interesting time. Yeah, so I guess, I mean, I guess that's, you know, pretty much it. I don't want to keep you too long.
Awesome.
Very cool. Again, is there anything you want to say to the people out there?
Honestly, hey, thanks for tuning in. I know I'm not the normal guest, but I'm active everywhere, and so I'm Jaret Reddick on TikTok, and JARET2113 everywhere else, and got lots going on. So come check me out.
Very, very cool. And I'm David, and I hope you like this. Have a good day.
See ya.